What's up everyone, welcome to another episode of Wholesale channel. If you are first time here, my name is Peter, I live in Ireland and I do detailing for the last 15 years. If you're planning to start detailing as a hobby or as a business and you're interested in equipment that you need to perform the stages, watch this video till the end. I will show you sort of startup kit that you can start with. Obviously, I understand that at the start you might not have the budget for all professional equipment, so I'm gonna show you equipment that you can start with at sort of low budget or low or medium budget. So I'm gonna divide it into three sections. First one will be what you need for washing the car, what you need for decontamination. Second will be interior, and third one will be machine polishing. So when it comes to the exterior, when you want to prep the car, you definitely need power washer. What we have ourselves, we have Kranzel TST 1152, I think that's the model. Very good machine, very good power washer. Does the jobs for years, lasts for long. Price of it is around 800 euro. What you can buy for start, you can find power washer from 150 euro to let's say 300 euro, and power washer at this level will do the job for start. What you should consider is pressure. I will go for minimum. The maximum pressure should be 130 bar. Ideally it was 150, 160 bar. Also another thing what would I be looking at is length of the hose. I would go for at least 8 meters. That's because when you're washing the car, you don't want to move the power washer behind you. Some cheapest power washers, they might have 4 or 5 meter hose, so that will make your work more difficult. So what I would suggest you is, if you're looking for a power washer from this price range, would I be looking at maybe Nilfisk, Stihl, maybe Bosch. There is also lots of not known branded that they do decent enough power washer that they have all the features that you need, and they not necessarily will cost a lot of money. And if you want something that is actually quite decent at even lowest price, that's around 100 euro, 120 euro, what you could look at is Parkside. It's a brand from Lidl, Aldi. Those power washers at that budget are very good. You get a really good deal for what you pay for. Another thing what I be looking at is snow foam guns. You can buy them from let's say 25 euro to around 100 euro. What will be the difference between them? The more expensive one will be made of better components, will use less solution to wash the car, so in the long run you're saving some money on the detergents that you're using for washing. Longer lasting, in most cases you'll be able to adjust the thickness of the foam as well. With the more expensive snow foam gun you will get nicer foam, even with sort of budget power washer, where in the case of cheaper foam guns, if you have cheap power washer, the foam might not be too great. Another thing that you need for washing car is 2 buckets with the grid guards. Obviously you can buy some cheap buckets in hardware shop. You might pay 3 euro piece, but you might find it hard to get the grid guards that will fit to those buckets properly. If you buy sort of buckets from detailing shops, the grid guards should fit nicely to the bucket. Of course you will pay for them a bit more, but you'll have them for years. Cost of the buckets, let's say, is from around 35 to 50 euro for 2 buckets with the grid guards. When it comes to wheels, you need Cupra brushes, so you need one for the spokes, you need one for the barrels, and you need one for the tires. You should be able to get 3 brushes for 20 to 60 euro, depending on quality you go for. You can get them in this price range. Also you might add soft brushes and hard brushes, so that will probably increase the price, but even if at the start if you have 3 brushes, you will have good start for it. Drying towel for drying the car, from 15 to 30 euro you will get really good drying towel. Of course you might need also Cupra detail brushes. Let's say that you need maybe 2-3 of them, so you get them for around 10 to 25 euro. For the 25 euro you get really good quality ones, but also you can get the cheaper ones from internet. Also what you need is 2 wash mitts. You want to get one that is really good for the top of the body, and the other one can be sort of lower quality for underneath the body, around the seals, front bumper and back bumper, those spaces underneath. You would need Cupra spray bottles, for example, for tire remover, fallout remover, wheel cleaners, etc. So Let's say you need 5 bottles, decent enough bottles, you get them for 20 euro. You can pay even up to 60 euro. So in this case, all depends which ones you want. So as you can see, for the washing process, there's no huge budget required. The cheapest way you can do, where you'll have sort of equipment middle the road when it comes to power wash, obviously will be sort of the more budget one, but around 250, that will give you a startup. If you want to go the other way, where you buy a little bit more expensive power washer for around 300 euro and then have sort of really good quality of the other things, then you need budget around 650. So now let's talk about the interior. When it comes to interior, probably the most expensive piece of equipment will be your extractor, the wet and dry machine. In this case, if you're thinking about doing cars, I wouldn't sort of look for cheapest ones. The reason of that is, if you buy the very cheap one, the job won't have any efficiency. What I would recommend you strongly, and I had this vacuum before, and lots of detailers around the world uses that vacuum for start, is Pneumatic George. I'm gonna give you the details of this vacuum. I'm gonna give you example of Karcher Putzi, which is kind of another one that lots of people use. And I'm gonna give you data of my vacuum that I use these days, which is sort of semi-professional one. So I'm gonna give you the difference between the 3 machines, and I'll tell you the price, and then you'll see why the George is one that I recommend the most. Starting from the capacity of the tank, the Pneumatic George, you can use it also dry. Once you put filter into the vacuum, you remove the water tank, you can use it as a dry vacuum. In the case of the other ones, they're only used with for extraction. So Pneumatic George capacity of the vacuum is 15 liter dry, 6 liters of rinsing solution, so you can use rinsing solution or water. When it comes to dirty water, it takes up to 9 liters of water. Karcher Putzi, 10 liter of your rinsing solution, the clean water, and up to 9 liters of dirty water. When it comes to the third one, Sabrina Santomea, in this case it's 14 liters of clean water and 14 liters of dirty water. So the power of the 3 vacuums is Pneumatic George 1000 watt, Karcher Putzi 1250, and Sabrina Santomea 1500 watts. The weight of the machine, in this case, of course, like somebody might think the lighter the better. Of course, you don't want something extremely heavy, but if you buy vacuum that weighs 3-4 kg, you can be sure that there's only plastic in it. Where in the case of, if there is more weight, that means that there is the components are not the cheapest ones. So in this case, what we have, Pneumatic George 11 kg, Karcher 10.3 kg, and Sabrina Santomea 13 kg. One of the very important things in the extractor is airflow. So Pneumatic George 49 liters per second, Karcher 54 liters per second, and Sabrina Santomea 50 liters per second. So in this case, the Karcher wins. However, that doesn't mean it's the best, and the reason of that I will give you in a second. What's very important as well when it comes to efficiency of work is the pressure that the pump gives. So the George gives up to 2 bar pressure, Karcher Putzi 1 bar, and Sabrina Santomea up to 4 bar. So in practice, that means that when you're using the extractor, you applying your rinsing solution at high pressure, so there's sort of less water going in. Even that the airflow in the case of those 3 is at similar level, but in the case of Sabrina Santomea, the 4 bar pressure, there is very little moisture left in the seats, and that work you do this work more effectively, more efficiently, just basically quicker. And the results, you have much drier seats after the cleaning compared to the 2 other extractors. The length of the hose, in the case of this 3 meters for the Pneumatic George, 4 meters for the Putzi, Karcher Putzi, 2.5 meters for the Sabrina Santomea. So in this case, the Karcher wins again. Hand tool, when it comes to the hand tool that you need for cleaning up fabric upholstery in the car, with the Pneumatic George is always provided. With the Putzi is also provided most of the time, I think. In the case of Sabrina Santomea, you might have to buy it separately. Now, the price of these 3 extractors kind of varies a good bit. Pneumatic George is around 360, 380. In the case of Karcher Putzi, the cheapest one I found was around 600 euro. The Sabrina Saint Thomas is around 1000 euro. So now I hope you see why I recommend Pneumatic George for the start. I don't recommend you to buy in cheaper options, because for the price you have some of the features in this vacuum that you find in sort of more professional ones. Of course, you need another vacuum. This would be just for the dry work. You buy one for, let's say, around 100 to 150 euro. What I would recommend, Pneumatic Henry as well. Very good vacuum for the money. Might look funny a little bit with that big smile, but very good equipment for the start especially. In the case of dry vacuum, you want to kind of have vacuum that has around the 50 liters of airflow. Also, what you need is some pump sprayer, especially for the stain remover that you're going to use for fabric. You can buy some cheap ones for, let's say, around 10 euro. For a really good one, you pay around 30 euro. Also, a couple of bottles, spray bottles that you'll be using for, let's say, glass cleaner, for all-purpose cleaner. So, like, let's say 4 bottles should be enough. So the price would be around 15 to 40 euro. When it comes to cleaning the interior, you need some upholstery brushes, and what I strongly recommend you is to get drill brush attachments. So like you buy them with different softness. Let's say you buy softer one for gentler fabric, like for the seats, and you buy one that is very hard for the carpets. You get them for like 10-20 euro. Of course, to use it you need a drill, but like when it comes to drills, like you can buy, let's say, some really cheap one for around 30 euro to a couple of 100 euro. So let's say we go for something not the cheapest, let's say from 50 to 100 euro as well. Also, the same as in the case of exterior, you need some detail brushes. So again, you get a couple of them from 10 to 20 euro. Of course, to do the job, you also need microfiber cloth. So let's say for start you get 20. Some cheapest quality you get like around euro each, up to 2 euro for very decent quality. And when it comes to cleaning the glass, ideally if you have glass cloths, let's say 4-star, you get 5 glass cloths, price around 15 euro. Another very important piece of equipment when it comes to cleaning cars is having compressor. We have 200 liters here, but you can buy something that will do you at the start for around 200 euro. What you need minimum is 50-liter compressor. Also, what you can buy for yourself to make the job handy, however, I wouldn't say it's necessary for the start, it's a steamer. So steamer you can buy also from like within the budget. You can buy for 100 euro, you can spend 300 euro. Decent quality, decent sort of steamer for everyday job, you probably have to pay around 1000 euro. So in the case of equipment, definitely the equipment that you need for interior is the most expensive. When it comes to sort of lowest budget, but considering that you're getting decent enough extraction, which is the George, the budget is around 650 with the steamer. If you have the budget there and you want to go for sort of middle the road, including the George as well, better steamer, then the budget you need is around 1250 euro, or without the steamer that will drop it down to around 950. And the last part of the equipment that you might need when you're starting off is you might think about getting some polisher. When it comes to polishers, you can buy sort of entry level one for around 100-120 euro. If you want sort of little bit better one, then you'll be talking about around 200 euro. In the case of polishers, I'm not going to explain you too much what's the difference between them. If you want to sort of find out in depth what is the difference between machines, watch my video. I did one recently where I explain in depth the actual difference in the polishers and which ones I would recommend for beginners or for sort of more advanced users. And also for polishing, what you need is inspection torch. There's no point to use the polisher without doing inspection of the work that you do. When it comes to sort of middle the road, decent level of inspection torch, you're talking around 50-75 euro. If you want to get like the top notch, the most expensive ones, you're talking about 150 euro for the inspection light. But when it comes to starting up, you don't need to buy even the middle road one. What you can do is you can buy head torch. You get them on Amazon for 10-20 euro. What you want to make sure is that the torch has focused LED light, and this will be enough for the start to trace the imperfections on the car. So to recap the video, as you can see, You don't need to have huge budget to start it up when it comes to equipment. If you want to go the most budget way, around 1,300 euro will cover all your setup for the start, that you'll be able to perform the process. Then if your budget is higher and you want to kind of go for the medium standard, then it will cost you over 2,000 euro. Of course, when it comes to the professional setup, there's sort of no limits. Like you could be spending 10,000 euro on startup kit. But for the start, I think it's better off to go for equipment that will do the job without spending the money. Once you get the equipment, you start to learn, you can upgrade your equipment as you go. In the case of the whole equipment, as you've seen, the equipment for interior is the most expensive. However, when you're starting off, doing the interior is probably the quickest way you could get that money back. You could start to work on your experience and learn the skill. So I hope the video was helpful for you. If you have any questions, comment below. I'll try to answer your questions as best as I can. If you like this type of content, make sure you subscribe my channel so you won't miss any other videos that I'm gonna publish the next while. The next video will be about products that you need to perform the stages. So if you're interested in the starting up, you want to get that information, what you need to start, watch the next video as well, and see you on the next one.